StarkWare runs the first quantum-safe Bitcoin transaction on Mainnet. StarkWare has executed what it calls the first-ever quantum-safe Bitcoin transaction on Mainnet, according to a post from Cointelegraph on August 27, 2026. The company, known for the Stark proving technology behind Ethereum Layer 2 network StarkNet, framed the transaction as a working demonstration that Bitcoin payments can be settled using cryptography that a future quantum computer cannot easily break. The milestone lands during a strong week for the asset it aims to protect. Bitcoin traded at $78,665 as of August 27, 2026, down 0.5% on the day, but up roughly 14% over the prior 7 days, per CoinMarketCap data in the market snapshot. The Fear and Greed Index sat at 80 in extreme greed territory. Price momentum and long-term security are separate questions, but both feed the same debate about how durable Bitcoin's guarantees really are over a multi-decade horizon. The specific thing, quantum computing, threatens Bitcoin's exposure to quantum computing is narrow and well understood. It centers on the elliptic curve digital signature algorithm, or ECDSA, that proves ownership when you spend coins. A sufficiently large, fault-tolerant quantum computer running Shor's algorithm could in theory derive a private key from its corresponding public key, letting an attacker forge the signature that authorizes a transaction. The hashing that secures mining and wraps addresses is a much softer target. Quantum machines only offer a quadratic speedup there through Grover's algorithm, which larger parameters can absorb. The signature layer is where the real risk sits, and it is the layer StarkWare's approach is built to sidestep. No such quantum computer exists today. Current hardware is nowhere near the qubit count, and error correction needed to attack a live Bitcoin key. The concern is timeline and inertia. Coins can sit unmoved for a decade or more, and a chain the size of Bitcoin cannot swap its cryptography overnight. Demonstrating an alternative now, while there is no pressure, is the point. Starks lean on hash functions, not elliptic curves. Starks, short for scalable transparent arguments of knowledge, are built on hash functions rather than elliptic curves. That foundation is considered post-quantum resistant because it does not rely on the mathematical structure Shor's algorithm exploits. StarkWare has spent years deploying this technology to scale Ethereum, so applying it to Bitcoin's quantum question is an extension of existing work rather than a lab experiment from scratch. A mainnet transaction matters more than a testnet proof of concept because it settles on the real chain, under real consensus rules, with real economic finality. That is the difference between a white paper claim and something that actually cleared. Details beyond the announcement were thin at the time of writing, including the exact construction used, whether it required any Bitcoin script tricks, and how the approach would scale to everyday spending. Those specifics will determine how far the demonstration can travel. A demonstration, not a network upgrade. The distance between a single quantum-safe transaction and a quantum-safe Bitcoin network is large. Changing how Bitcoin handles signatures at the protocol level would require a soft fork, or broader consensus change, and Bitcoin's governance moves slowly by design. Any migration would also have to address the billions of dollars sitting in older address types whose public keys are already exposed on-chain, which is the hardest part of any real transition. Read this as a signal, not a switch that has been flipped. It shows that hash-based proving can express a Bitcoin transaction in a quantum-resistant form on the live chain, which strengthens the case that a future upgrade path exists if and when the threat becomes concrete. For anyone holding Bitcoin through a wallet or funding a crypto card from a BTC balance, nothing changes today. There is no action to take and no reason to move coins. The relevant habit is the one that already applies. Understand where your keys live. People who spend from their own wallet rather than a custodian will one day rely on whatever migration the protocol adopts. So, following how Bitcoin approaches this over the coming years is worth the attention. This kind of infrastructure work tends to matter long before it makes headlines. In the same way, hardware wallet signing improvements rarely trend but quietly protect users.